Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have a heavy, wild video for you today. This video is going to be about how me and a friend had a nightmare of an experience going to a concert. But before we even get into this, how are y'all doing? I hope y'all had a good happy 4th of July if you're from America. And I hope the rest of y'all have just been taking care of yourselves. I took a little time away, but coming back strong. Gonna have more than just one video a week, so hope y'all are ready for it. Also, this BattleBit game is such a blast, man. Yo, leave it to a couple of devs to show EA how to make a proper Battlefield, because this is definitely better than the last one they came out with. Remember to drop a sub and like if you enjoy this video. It helps me in the algo, plus I'd like to see you stick around for a little while. So, without further ado, let's dive in. So this was back around 2012. I met some people that were a couple together, and I would actually start hanging out with them pretty regularly. Also, back around this time, I was flipping zips to make a couple extra dollars. And this couple, not only were they really nice people, they were pretty frequent customers. Well, one day this couple has me over and they throw a little 420 get-together smoke sesh. They also had invited a couple other friends that I didn't know, but they seemed pretty cool at the time. And one of the people that were there, we're going to call her Casey. And I actually believe she had just recently moved there and needed to connect. So I let the original couple that invited me know, just give her my number and she could just hit me up whenever she needs something. Well, a little time goes on, and I've been serving her for a little while. I'm chatting with her about, her friends or cats and stuff like that each time I drop off. So occasionally, every now and then, I would stick around after the serve. Well, me, her, and one of her friends, we'll call Lindsay, would sit around, we'd watch like Tim and Eric, or some show, and just like chill and smoke. Well, I always thought it was kind of weird, but the couple that I had met her through would tell me things like, yeah, man, Casey's been doing some weird stuff. And I would just say, like, what do you mean? Like, give me an example. And they had followed up with, yeah, like, Casey will invite us over, pretty much like beg us to come over and eat dinner at her place, right? And when we get there, she's just cooking up absolute fire. They had said her cooking was really nice, actually. But then they told me when we get there, she just says weird stuff that's just passive aggressive or something like, oh, you're just going to eat all my food. And honestly, make them feel bad for even coming when she invited them in the first place. Then they had followed up saying, hey, this happened maybe 2 times, and we stopped accepting her invites after that because this couple I had known were very reserved, polite people, like very chill. I could never see them being disrespectful or anything like that to her. Well, one night, one of my roommates, Dan, wants to go to an electronic or like a dubstep show that was maybe about an hour away. I want to say that the show we were going to go see was Datsik and Excision. I can't quite remember, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Well, while me and Dan are kind of discussing the details, I tell him like, yo, dude, I've actually been interested in this girl, Lindsay, who was Casey's friend at the time. And we had been talking a bit, so I was like, hey, man, maybe we can invite Casey and her friend along the way, so just so we have some company with us, right? We didn't have anyone else planning to come with us, so why not? My roommate Dan's like, hell yeah, dude, that sounds like a good time. Dan also said, yo, dude, I've actually got these tabs too, and I'm going to take them before we actually get to the event. I told him that I would be the one driving so he could just take his tabs, trip out, and relax, So I gave Lindsay a call and told her what we were planning. She actually said, yo, I'm actually hanging out at Casey's place right now. And, I'm down. She says she's down also. We confirm everything, and Dan and I get our stuff together, hop in the car, and go pick up the girls. We scoop them up, and then we head to the concert. We get to the parking garage, and I have a few airplane bottles I pregame on with Lindsay. I want to say Casey said she would just grab some drinks at the bar. Dan's already taken his tabs halfway up there, so he's already feeling it. We get out and head up to the venue. The opening artist goes on. Dan, Lindsay, and me are just having a good time. I don't really remember seeing Casey that much, but I had just assumed she was drinking at the bar at the time. See, the bar actually had some TVs so you could see what was going on in the venue downstairs. So if you just needed a break, you could go down there and still catch the show somewhat. Well, I kind of wanted a little something extra, and I see some guys that might fit the part that can help me out. So during a break in the show, while the other artists are preparing to go on next, I go out to the smoking area and ask these guys if they've seen someone named Molly. They get what I'm kind of saying, but at first they're a little apprehensive. But I bust out one of my J's and spark it up in the outside area. I end up offering it to them after me, Lindsay, and Dan had taken it in a rotation, and they happily oblige. We finish it, and then I circle back around with, hey, if you know where to find her again, let me know. I just pretty much left it at that and headed back inside. Well, after we go in right before the next artist goes on, one of those guys outside I was smoking with comes up to me, and he has a beer in a plastic cup from the venue. He hands it to me and he says, "Hey, thanks for the smoke out there. Here's a little something I think you were looking for, but hey, just don't go too ham. Just sip on it for a little bit." I tell him, "Yo, thanks, man." So, I was actually a little cautious. But hey, in my super early 20s, I didn't really give a shit. And so I gave it a little sip test. And sure enough, that underlying familiar bitterness to this Bud Light, I'm like, oh, he hooked it up. I go get a straw from the bar and stir it up real good. I probably knocked back about 60 to 75% of the cup and then passed it to Lindsay. She gets a little hit off of it as well, hands it back to me, and I just finished the rest. I had thought about offering the rest to Dan, but there really wasn't that much left. And, it wasn't his first rodeo. He came prepared. Dan was one of those people that work at like an Axis or other security jobs on the side for, festivals. I don't think he really needed to do it, but hell, he had a regular full-time job. He just did the security work for free festivals and concerts and to get bribed with free party favors, essentially. He would catch people with stuff that he needed to confiscate, and he would just kind of, let them know, oh, well, maybe if I wouldn't see this, and then he would essentially just get some free stuff. Anyways, back on topic. So we continue enjoying the rest of the show for the night, and we really have a good time. So the show's winding down and ends, and I'm like, yo, where's Casey at? I don't think I had seen her, but maybe at the start of the show. Well, we check the bar and don't see her. We go to the downstairs bar where we thought she would definitely be, and nothing. So we searched around the floor a while, and then eventually I just asked Lindsay, hey dude, can you go in the girls' bathroom and see if she's in there? Just let her know we're about to head out. Lindsay pops in there, comes out, says, yo, she wasn't in there. There were quite a few people at the venue, and it's like, it was a really packed show. At this point, a few people were like lined up at the door, like funneling out of the place. Well, as I see people lining up to head to the exit, I see Casey like in the midst of all these people. Like it was just like she was like a wisp in the crowd. She turns around and sees us and we're like, hey, dude. And then she starts pushing against the flow of the exit line, like towards us, right? And then she gets in our faces and screams, fuck you! Like at the top of her lungs. Bro, at that point, we're all just looking at each other like, what the hell was that about? Well, it takes us a minute or two because we're waiting to get outside. We get outside the venue. I asked Lindsay, hey, dude, did she say something during the show or did you talk to her? Lindsay says, well, I had seen her, but she said she was just going to chill at the bar downstairs for most of the time and just do her own thing, essentially. So we're outside and we just don't see her anywhere. I give her phone a call to see if she picks up. She doesn't answer. So I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know what she's mad about, but Lindsay, can you maybe try texting her? Maybe you can get a hold of her. And Lindsay couldn't get anything. Man, we looked for this bitch for a good 20 to 30 minutes, and it's late at night. We're getting tired. We're walking up and down the street, and we're like, man, she's from this area, and she knows a lot of people here. Maybe she met someone. I don't know. But I didn't want to leave someone that came up here with me, like, just high and dry. Like, one, she didn't have a car, and two, she didn't really tell me that she was going anywhere. So I feel like she's just unhinged for some reason that I don't really know why. But we're walking and eventually we see her up at the road and man, this bitch is having a psychotic episode. Like it is crazy. She's screaming at the top of her lungs, fuck dubstep, fuck all these people. She's like hollering, dude. She's literally in a screaming rage. We see her, we tell her, yeah, man, we're trying to leave right now. And we just didn't want to leave you here. And she just pops off in her rage, says, I know people in this area and I can be okay. Well, I'm like, dude, do you want to come with us or do you want me to just leave you here? She then just goes off in like an unhinged tirade, man, about how I think I'm such a good person for coming to find her and all this shit about just being super sarcastic. Then I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, the couple that introduced me to her, the stuff they were telling me about the weird invites to dinners, the passive aggressive stuff, like this is the version of her that they were talking about that I'm getting. So I'm just like, all right, dude, if you want to come with us, we're going to head over to the parking garage, so whatever you want to do. And man, I wish I would have just left her there because she just starts following us all angrily to the parking garage, chatting shit the whole time, bro. Keep in mind, Stan is still tripping pretty hard. And I would say at this point, he's probably right at the edge of mid-peak off his tabs. Well, we finally get to the parking garage, get in the car and start driving. And dude, Casey is going absolutely ballistic. So we're in the car and I'm just trying to talk it out with her. I tell her, dude, I know you don't have a car. I just thought it would be cool to see if you wanted to come out with us because she never left her apartment and she would complain about it a lot of times. It's about not being able to get around in general. Hence why I thought of her for the invitation in the first place. That was something I was also considering as well when I invited her. And she keeps going on with, "Oh, you're so nice. You're just so fucking nice." And she's a banshee, dude. And she just really goes on to say some really weird, hateful shit. I then noticed my phone buzz. I pull it up and Lindsay had texted me from the back seat saying, "Dude, what the fuck?" She said she sat at the bar downstairs the entire time and slammed like 10 double shot. I guess Casey had told her this because I was trying to ignore her and just walk back to the car before we had actually left after we found her. Keep in mind, she's ramping up her volume and she's like screaming psycho mode now. Dan had not said anything like at all this point. Dan was just focusing on the road. I could see it. But eventually, Dan started chirping off a little bit on her. He's like, "Dude, you know you didn't have to fucking come." This bitch starts like kicking the back of his seat and like screaming at Dan. So I look at her and I tell her, if she doesn't stop, I'm going to drag her out of the car and leave her on the side of the highway. This is crazy. Like, she's affecting my ability to drive at this point. Like, I absolutely didn't give a shit about this bitch anymore. She was max level out of her mind. Well, she kind of tones it down a little bit because I like slowed the car down and I was just like, what is going on? But even though she calmed down, she's still like casually chatting shit under her breath. Well, we get her home, and I can't wait for her to leave my presence. I start driving Lindsay home, and my roommate Dan was like, "Bro, she had my trip so fucked up." He said that he started thinking of her as the devil behind him. He's like, "That was the only way for me to hold on to reality, bro." Dude, poor dude, man. I felt especially bad for Dan because I couldn't imagine having to deal with something like that off 3 or 4 strong-ass tabs, dude. So I remember that night, I'm telling everyone about this crazy event. I'm like, "Dude, don't ever have this bitch around me anymore." I told my friends that were a couple that originally introduced us, and they said, "Wow, we had maybe some awkward moments with her, but dude, nothing on the caliber of what you're describing to us right now." And the icing on the cake, after I told the couple this, they told me that she was also stealing from me from when I would come over to serve. I guess I would go to the bathroom or something. She'd just go through my bag. And the couple had told me, like, we thought she was just like bullshitting because Casey was kind of sarcastic and dry sometimes. They said, "But since you've told us this little episode, we just think you should know about that." And you know what? There were a couple of times I was coming up light on stuff and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" I thought it was just maybe my error. After the fact, I even text Casey, tell her, "Hey, don't hit me up for absolutely anything." Man, I'm warning other people about her, and I'm just telling others that might not even know her. I'm like, "Yo, be careful of this person if y'all hang out." Because I let them know about her stealing from me when I'd go to the bathroom, and also just her just wigging out completely on us that night. She was just really unhinged, man. I don't know. She apparently obviously had some mental issues that she would willingly go off and on her medication, so she was just like a whirlwind, especially when she drank, dude. Oh my God. I'm very understanding of people's mental health and illnesses, whatever, but there comes a point where you have to be responsible for the way you act around people. You can't just like rain down fucking terror on people because you have something going on that you're not handling properly. Like, it's not anyone else's responsibility to take on that externalization that you're projecting onto people. Another reason I wanted to keep distance from her was because after this whole ordeal, I had kind of told her, like, "Don't contact me. I'm kind of done talking to you." So she would see me and then just kind of like talk passively, just loud enough where I could hear, but she would like talk shit about me and stuff, but I could obviously hear what she was saying. And then it was just weird. It'd be like clockwork. Sometime after, she would hit me up on like Facebook or something, be like, "Hey man, I'm really sorry about all this." And I'd be like, "Dude, just stop." And I'd block her on whatever account she was trying to contact me through because she was always looking to get served. And I'm sure all the other plugs had cut her off at this point too. Or at least it would come no surprise to me. But what really kept my defenses up was just how she would just harass me if she ever would see me out. Like, there's a few common places that I might see her where I would drink or hang out with friends. Because I'm one of those people, really like kind of introverted, but I also like to be out in the public as well. I'm like kind of more of a solo flyer a lot of the time, right? But dude, she would hang around like these super sketchy fucking losers, just sit close and just talk shit, and then just like reach out for an apology when she needed something. It was just really annoying. And to be honest, I wasn't even being rude when she would try to contact me. I'd just be like, "Hey, like, I'm not holding a grudge or anything. I just would respect it if you would just kind of leave me alone, dude." because I don't like the wild unpredictability. Like I don't like being around people that can just fly off the handle like that, man. Like it was just oh my god. And also like stealing from me too, dude. Like what? But looking back, I'm kind of glad I had this wild experience. It kind of opened up a different perspective over the years that I may not have seen if I didn't experience it firsthand. I really didn't mean for this video to get too heavy, but she passed away years after this had happened. And honestly, after creating this video, it's kind of just brought some emotions, and I've just had time to think about things as I've matured now. Although I feel bad about her passing, when I look back, I was glad I established those boundaries and really stuck with them, because that was something I really had a problem with then. You know, you just see some gameplay and me talking about stories or whatever, but some of these events I really haven't thought of in like years, man. Reflecting back on them, they bring up emotions, feelings, whatever, that I feel like it's really beneficial to reflect on. I'm someone that can understand that the world operates in a lot of gray area, and sometimes it takes a little mixed feelings and, thinking back on things to really understand a situation. And sometimes I'd like my content to reflect that. If anyone's experienced anything similar to this, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you got to say. If you made it this far, leave a like. Drop a sub if you want more life experience and storytime content. Well, until next time, stay safe out there, and as always, take it easy, gamers.